Now let's go to Australia next, where the state of Victoria has pulled out of hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games, saying the cost of staging the event had become too great. Victoria volunteered last May to host the Games, but the state's Premier says the projected cost was now 3 times larger than they were anticipating and had become too much to bear.
Look, I've made a lot of difficult calls, a lot of very difficult decisions in this job. This is not one of them. Frankly, $6 to $7 billion for a 12-day sporting event, we are not doing that. That does not represent value for money. That is all cost and no benefit. The Games will not proceed in Victoria in 2026. We have informed Commonwealth Games authorities of our decision to seek to terminate the contract and to not host the Games.
Well, let's go live to Melbourne now to speak to our correspondent there, Shaima Khalil. Shaima, the opposition in the state of Victoria is saying this is a huge humiliation. Tell us more.
Well, a shock, a surprise, disappointment. All of these have been used as reactions to what has been announced today, and it was a shock to the Commonwealth Games Federation themselves. They said they were given 8 hours notice before that decision was made. And as you said, Victoria volunteered to host this, the Commonwealth Games in 2016. It was touted as a boost to the regional economy. Different regions were going to host these games, and it was going to be, a support for the infrastructure, to create jobs. But Daniel Andrews today said it was going to be all cost and no benefit. At least that's the local government's or the state government's assessment. This was budgeted for £1.5 billion, so about $2 billion, and it has increased to 3 times that much. And essentially, the state government said that they could not fund it anymore. But that was the surprise of the Commonwealth Games Federation, who said that up until that announcement was made, the government of Victoria said that they could still cover it. And of course, it was a shock to Commonwealth Games Australia, who said that the shock from this was beyond embarrassing. Remember, we're in Melbourne, we're in Victoria. This is the heart of sporting here in Australia. This is the home to the first Grand Slam of the season, the Australian Open. And remember, the timing of this could not be more problematic. We were here actually to cover or to do some coverage before the Women's World Cup, this other huge sporting event that Australia is meant to host. 2 days before that, Victoria comes out with this announcement. There are many, many questions about this. Why did they leave it to the last minute to say that they didn't have the money? And why did they choose now, when all eyes are on Australia for the Women's World Cup, to announce something like this?
Now, the Commonwealth Games Federation is saying we are committed to finding a solution, but one wonders what that might be, because Victoria was probably the only one that volunteered to host these games.
That's right. And I think the solution is, to find someone else, to find another place, to find another location, another state here. Sydney has been touted. Western Australia has also been mentioned as a potential host. But remember, this is very, very late in the game. We're talking 3 years before that to start the infrastructure and to restart the whole process. And again, in the middle of Sydney, getting ready to host the Women's World Cup. So it really is not clear who's going to take this on, how much it's going to cost. And I think also just the reputational damage and the embarrassment for Australia, the fact that now all eyes are on Australia for the wrong reasons. I think this is also something that they want to consider. The costs, of course, are going to be an issue, and whichever state chooses to do this will have to convince its people, its local government, that this is going to, the cost for benefit are going to be parallel, and they're going to even out, and that is going to be a big task.
Okay, Shaima, thank you so much. Shaima Khalil in Melbourne for us.